Hello and welcome to today's edition of Disc Bar, the Florida Bar. I'm your host, Les Winston. I'm with you every day from 2 to 3 p.m. here on The Biz every weekday. This program is dedicated to discussing the issues that victims of the Florida Bar's corruption bring to the table. We have been airing these programs for several months. We have brought to light the stories of so many victims, it's hard to keep track of them, who have been affected by corruption at the top of the Florida Bar. My guest this afternoon is Elliot Bernstein. Elliot has been was a former guest on the show, and the reason for my return visit with Elliot is to get caught up to date a little bit more on what's going on from his perspective. How are you, Elliot?
Hi, Les.
It's good to talk with you again. I've been following your iViewIt Technologies site, and I certainly would implore anybody who is interested in this topic to go and visit iViewIt Technologies. It's what is the actual site? It's iViewIt.com?
iViewIt.tv.
iViewIt.tv. How long have you had that site?
Since 2002 or 3.
And what do you filter through there? What do you put through that site?
I put through the basic information about the inventions I invented, and then I put through quite a bit of the investigatory, the bar issue, the court issues that we've had to, as a company, deal with to try to get our patents back from the dirty, rotten attorneys, judges, and prosecutors who have aided and abetted to steal the technologies and convert the royalties to themselves.
You've likened them to the invention of electricity.
Les, I didn't liken them to anything. Senior engineers from Lockheed, Intel, Silicon Graphics, Warner Brothers, AOL, their terms were digital electricity, the holy grail, distributing video at full screen, full frame rate at low bandwidth through the internet was deemed the search for the holy grail. So solving that obviously led them to call my technology the holy grail. But they're so profound, they affect everything that has to do with digital imaging and video, every piece of hardware, every piece of software. They're more important than the operating system. At this point, there are estimates that over 90% of the internet driver is video and imaging. And if that's true, then I'm the guy responsible for that on both ends of the imaging. And then you take the technologies through the medical science on telescopes, etc. And the applications are never ending, actually. And so the royalty streams are hard to count, actually.
To recover what you've lost.
I haven't lost anything, by the way, Les.
Okay.
Let me be clear. The attorneys have stolen the patents to cause enough that they're in suspension at the patent office. And what's happening is a royalty is inuring for me. Right now, the attorneys are out there through the MPEG patent pool they created and control, my attorneys, who were supposed to be patenting my inventions for me, patented them under their patent pool, and have been really illegally charging all these companies through the MPEG patent pooling scheme that Kenneth Rubenstein of Proskauer Rose, my lawyers, developed, and then put my technology into their patent pool and blocked me out of the market and tried to kill me with a car bomb and all those kind of things we've discussed. But in the end, Les, everybody, if tomorrow I get my patents approved, Warner Brothers will owe me 10 years of back pay, and I'm the biggest driver of their company.
Is anybody getting paid now?
Yeah, MPEG. These guys have made a fortune.
Yeah.
So the lawyers have ripped off all these people, claiming that it was their technology. And so all of these people are still going to have to pay me 10 years of back pay like any inventor, and an ongoing forward royalty. And the numbers, people have estimated it to be $1 trillion. I have a lawsuit that's $1 trillion in a federal court associated legally related by a federal judge, Sheriff Shinlin, to a whistleblower in New York. So, these are very serious numbers. But, that's all payable to me. Now, whatever MPEG charged Warner Brothers will have remedy to go to MPEG and say, we're suing you for all the money you ripped us off. You knew you stole somebody's invention, and you charged us, and you didn't tell us, hey, if he gets his inventions, you might owe him too.
Mm-hmm.
And lawyers are going to have a big problem. In fact, I'm going to offer everybody on my licenses a 10 to 15% discount if they will sue MPEG eternally, and they can have a haircut on the license when they eventually have to settle up with the true and proper inventors.
Okay, who are the rogues in this matter? Who are the rogue attorneys and who are the rogue judges? Who do you believe are the rogues that have done this?
The initial rogue lawyer is Albert Gortz and Christopher Wheeler here in Boca Raton, Florida. They were first on the scene of my invention at Proskauer Rose.
What's their names?
Albert Gortz.
Albert Gortz, Gortz?
Gortz.
TZ, okay.
And Christopher Clark Wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
And those were the first two guys on the scene. They were the first guys to hear the Holy Grail out of Hassan Mia's mouth, who Hassan was the Intel CAA.
And what did they do?
Well, what they did right from the start, and what we learned is Chris Wheeler was involved in a prior patent attempted theft from a Florida businessman, Monty Friedkin. And he brought his crew right into my company. So these guys were a well-oiled machine prior to getting to my patents. But they had just come off a heist that went terribly wrong for them, and it involved Chris Wheeler and a gentleman. These were the gentlemen at Monty Friedkin who came over to my company. They brought in another guy from Foley and Lardner out of Milwaukee. Well, he was in Palm Beach. His name was William Dick. The law firm Foley and Lardner is out of Milwaukee.
So let's go back for a second. Albert Gortz and Christopher Clark Wheeler, what did they actually do to your claims or to your rights that you can say here's the evidence that they did this? Well,
here's what they did. Let me go through that whole part I was taking you through.
Okay.
I think it'll clarify your question. So the three prior people to Monty Friedkin's theft of patents, which is going to happen almost identically at my company, was Chris Wheeler, and these were identified by Friedkin, and then Bill Dick, who was at Foley and Lardner. Now, Dick was prior to Foley and Lardner IBM's Far Eastern Patent Council. And the third person at Friedkin's was a gentleman, Brian Utley, who was the plant manager or something, or the janitor probably, at IBM here. And he and Wheeler were very good friends, sit on the Florida Atlantic University board together with Friedkin, in fact.
Okay.
And which is an interesting piece of history. And
So is there a conflict of interest that was established by these prior relationships?
No. What happened was, there's a criminal background. That's the first thing to establish. That these three who are going to end up in my company have a prior attempted theft of intellectual property from another Florida businessman right before me, of which they alter Brian Utley's resume to lie. Actually, when we handed it to Friedkin, he confirmed that the whole story Utley said about helping his company through his inventions was all lies. When he caught them stealing patents, he took a business loss, closed down his company, Diamond Turf Manufacturing or Diamond Turf Equipment, and he closed it down and took a loss and because he had caught them stealing intellectual property.
Okay.
Now, they didn't put that in Utley's resume when Wheeler handed it out to the iView at my company's board.
Was that a criminal background that was known in the courts? It was public information or what?
No, Friedkin had fired him and closed down his company on the spot. Now, when Wheeler gave me Utley's resume to hire Utley, on his resume it said Diamond Turf Equipment had gone on to be a great success. But what really happened was, when we checked with Friedkin after the fact, after we learned they were stealing patents, and we'll get to that in a minute.
So Wheeler misled you regarding Utley's background.
Oh, and Bill Dick, when they brought him in, and I'll explain where that comes in a minute. So the first step that they did, Wheeler, was to say that Proskauer had patent counsel in New York, which they didn't.
Okay.
Prior to my inventions, Proskauer had no IT department for
Was
200
was
years.
that documented that he said that Proskauer had patent
Yes.
experience?
Yes.
Okay.
And even more bizarre is he learned of my invention. He said he would check with their New York Patent Council, and then he disappeared for a few weeks. And I'm calling him every day, and I got people lining up for investment and wanting to know what's going on with my lawyer. And when he came back, he said, our patent counsel, Kenneth Rubenstein, is a guy who put together this patent pool, the MPEG patent pool. Okay. Well, right there, we started telling everybody, Proskauer got Kenneth Rubenstein as our patent counsel.
Okay.
And we've now retained Proskauer and Rubenstein.
Okay.
Rubenstein brought in his lackey, Raymond Joa, the guy who will eventually put 90 patents in his own name, all to do with inventions learned from me,
Okay.
or mostly. And he might have been stealing from some of his other clients, too. And I'm sure they were, because this looks like a well-greased machine. Like I said, they have, for RICO, it's important to establish that they have priors in this.
Okay. My guest, hold on a second. My guest this afternoon is Elliot Bernstein of iViewIt.tv, iViewIt Technologies, and we're talking about the patents and how he was defrauded out of his patents by rogue attorneys. So the first rogue attorney on the scene is actually Christopher Clark Wheeler, who misleads you about the backgrounds of these people that he's bringing into your inner circle.
Absolutely.
Okay. Did you report? Is that part of your claim?
Oh, absolutely.
No, but is that part of the claim that you made to the Florida bar?
Absolutely, with the evidence.
Okay.
Because what happens next is, and I can't remember if it was Goldman Sachs or Grunzel, one of the due diligence people that was looking at investment came back and said, "Hey, what are you telling people that Ken Rubenstein is with Proskauer Rose? He's with a firm, Meltzer Lippy."
Uh-huh.
And so we called Wheeler, and this is all documented in the complaints with the Florida bar, in the complaints everywhere. And we contacted Wheeler and said, what are you doing? You're telling us that this guy works for you, but he works for some other law firm, and now we've got investors who have verified that. I made calls to Proskauer. They had no Ken Rubenstein.
So this is very simple, cut and dry, clearly evidenced claim that Wheeler has misrepresented to you the attorney that he is bringing into this as representing Proskauer and Rose, when in fact he belongs to another law firm.
Oh, and absolutely. And if you listen to Ken Rubenstein's deposition or read the transcript up at my site, he suddenly has a brain flurb. And imagine a lawyer or a litigator of a firm like this forgetting his date of employment with Proskauer. He can't remember. He doesn't know the terms of his contract with Proskauer.
Okay.
Under deposition, he keeps saying he's going to answer that when he returns, but he never returns.
So it's clear that that he didn't, and it wasn't part of Proskauer at the time. So when you made that complaint to the Florida bar, is that the first complaint you made to them?
Well, it was the first part of the story.
Yeah. Okay. No, I realize there's more.
Several thousand pages long.
Right, I realize that, but in the early stage of what you uncovered, you started with that with the bar. Was that the first thing you sent to the bar? Do you know?
Yeah. The first thing was a well. By the time I got to the Florida bar, I had information that was, I had just filed a counter complaint in the La Barga court in West Palm, and so we had filed a counter complaint alleging conspiracy. We had a lot of information and evidence on these guys right here. Okay,
so now not only have you filed a complaint with the Florida bar alleging these, now you are in federal court. Federal court?
No, this was in
State
West
Circuit
Palm
Court.
Beach Civil Circuit. Judge Jorge La Barga.
Okay,
the guy who threw the Bush election.
Okay, so now you have filed a lawsuit against them alleging these very things. Is that right?
In a federal court, and it's been related legally by federal Judge Shara Schindlin to a whistleblower.
Okay, but I'm saying going back to the La Barga court, the La Barga...
I'm suing La Barga in the federal court in New York. I'm suing the Florida bar. I'm suing, God knows, all of the Supreme Court guys.
Right.
The clerk of that court, pretty much the president of the Florida bar, Kelly Overstreet Johnson, several of the officers of that court who lied, who got caught in conflicts, who got, Kelly Overstreet Johnson